Vernon Lee, the writing pseudonym for Violet Paget. An introduction. Vernon Lee was born Violet Paget on 4th of October 1856 in Boulogne, France, to intellectual expatriate British parents. In common with several other very talented literary women of the day, she felt it necessary to publish under a masculine pseudonym in order for her writing to be taken seriously. Indeed, she seems to have adopted that persona across her whole lifestyle, becoming personally known and acknowledged by all as Vernon Lee, and accordingly dressed as a man. Her first published work in 1880 was taken from her collection of essays that had originally appeared in Fraser's magazine with the scholarly title of Studies of the 18th Century in Italy. It reflected her passion for music and centred on the rich creative lives of poet-librettist Pietro Metastasio and dramatists Carlo Goldoni and Carlo Gozzi. She wrote over a dozen volumes of essays on art, music and travel, with her scholarly appreciation animated by wit and imagination. Lee was well regarded as an expert on the Italian Renaissance and was a proponent of the aesthetic movement. Her literary talents were extensive, and she wrote a number of novels and plays. Perhaps her best remembered works are her haunting and powerful short stories exploring the supernatural. Lee has often received accolades for these and glowingly compared to other authors such as M.R. James. A committed pacifist, she was resolved to protest against World War I. Her social activism in other areas was perhaps fueled by her feminist beliefs. In her private life, she was a lesbian and had long-term passionate relationships with 3 women, including the doomed author and poet Amy Levy. Vernon Lee died on 13th of February 1935 in San Gervasio Bresciano, Italy. In this story, a writer of operas discovers the history of a Venetian singer, whose very voice could lift an audience to ecstasy, love, and even death.
A Wicked Voice by Vernon Lee. To M.W. in remembrance of the last song at Palazzo Barbaro. Chi ha inteso, intenda. They have been congratulating me again today upon being the only composer of our days, of these days of deafening orchestral effects and poetical quackery, who has despised the new-fangled nonsense of Wagner and returned boldly to the traditions of Handel and Gluck and the divine Mozart, to the supremacy of melody and the respect of the human voice. O cursed human voice, violin of flesh and blood, fashioned with the subtle tools, the cunning hands of Satan. O execrable art of singing, have you not wrought mischief enough in the past, degrading so much noble genius, corrupting the purity of Mozart, reducing Handel to a writer of high-class singing exercises, and defrauding the world of the only inspiration worthy of Sophocles and Euripides, the poetry of the great poet Gluck? Is it not enough to have dishonoured a whole century in idolatry of that wicked and contemptible wretch, the singer, without persecuting an obscure young composer of our days, whose only wealth is his love of nobility in art, and perhaps some few grains of genius? And then they compliment me upon the perfection with which I imitate the style of the great dead masters, or ask me very seriously whether, even if I could gain over the modern public to this bygone style of music, I could hope to find singers to perform it. Sometimes, when people talk as they have been talking today, and laugh when I declare myself a follower of Wagner, I burst into a paroxysm of unintelligible, childish rage, and exclaim, "We shall see that some day." Yes, some day we shall see. For after all, may I not recover from this strangest of maladies? It is still possible that the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?